Hello, I'm Vice Chairman Thomas Hicks with the United States Election Assistance Commission. Joining me for a conversation recognizing Cybersecurity Awareness Month is Jeff Hale with the Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, to talk about CISA support for local, state, and tribal election officials. Jeff is the Director of Election Security of the Election Security Initiative. Thank you for speaking with me today. First off, for those of you who aren't familiar, can you tell us a little about Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, and Information Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and its role in elections?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, Cybersecurity Awareness Month is a great time to be having this kind of conversation, so I appreciate it. Again, I am from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. It's twice the security. So CISA, we are a component within the Department of Homeland Security. We focus on helping the nation to understand and manage its cyber and physical risk to the nation's critical infrastructure. As part of that mission, my team focuses on support to election officials and their private sector partners, and everyone who helps to ensure that we can conduct elections. In 2017, January of 2017, my how time flies, we're the agency that designated election infrastructure as a critical infrastructure sector, and I think the relationship has evolved tremendously since then, but it's really been able to allow us to work closely with election officials, with their private sector partners, and to provide those services and the cybersecurity and physical security services to help them increase their security posture in the face of kind of an ever-changing threat landscape.
Great. Can you explain the threat cybersecurity poses to the confidence, integrity, and availability of U.S. elections?
Fantastic. Certainly, elections are part of the information environment, and a lot of it depends on the integrity of information in a voter registration database, integrity of the cast vote record, integrity of election night reporting. And so all of these represent an opportunity for cyber criminals or advanced persistent threat actors to attempt to influence and affect the ability to conduct elections. So either through tactics and techniques like ransomware attacks, where your information is locked up and the availability of it to you and other authorized users is then compromised, or the information can be exfiltrated and ransomed against you. All of these things represent impacts to either the integrity or the availability of those important information systems. Confidentiality is one of those areas that's actually quite interesting in this sector. One that makes it that makes it fun. It is a lot of the information is very transparent to the public, but not only vote records, but much of the voter registration database is something that is readily provided by election officials to campaigns, to other organizations that request it, in order to, so we're not necessarily securing for confidentiality, but absolutely for integrity and availability.
Great. You talked a little bit about this, but can you expand upon what trends you're seeing with cyber criminals that election officials should pay attention to since 2020? And we know that bad actors are using an ever-evolving and sophisticated array of tactics that may continue into the 2022 midterms.
So I love this question, but I do want to point out that oftentimes it's still the basics that we advise the election community to adopt in terms of cybersecurity and physical security, in order to just improve that cyber hygiene of how they're maintaining their systems, ensuring that they're patched. Because what we're seeing is not necessarily sophisticated tactics from a lot of the adversaries, but really opportunistic. Like if you are the weakest chain or link in the chain, you are the one that adversaries are going after in order to create targets of opportunity and to exploit you for ransomware or other purposes. We do also see that those cyber incidents not just can compromise the availability and integrity of those systems, but sometimes that underlying data is also used to conduct mis and disinformation campaigns and kind of confuse and undermine trust in the institution. So we're really encourage a lot of election officials to do some of those basic steps. Ensure that their systems are segregated so that compromise on one side isn't going to compromise the whole environment. To ensure that you're members of the Election Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center so that you're getting the best data, timely alerts, and awareness of compromises affecting other sectors, implementing multi-factor authentication, continuing to patch, and just practicing those cyber hygiene basics that'll help you do your due diligence against evolving threats.
It's wonderful. And outside of state and local resources, what should election administrators have on speed dial in the event that they experience a real or suspected cybersecurity incident?
There's actually a lot. I mean, we see this every time there's an election cycle. A lot of people are showing up ready to help. But it's good to know that not just during major elections, there are 3 kind of national level resources that election officials can always turn to. The first I'd say is the EISAC, so the Elections Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center. Ensure you have their connectivity. You can call their Security Operations Center. You can email them with a real or suspected incident. Part of their job is to support to this exact community. So very important there. The other is certainly CISA, and through our operations desk, we call it CISA Central. And you can always reach us at central@cisa.gov or our phone number at 888-282-0870. And so that we're always 24/7 ready resources. The third part of this 3-legged stool at the national level, make sure to know your election crimes coordinators. And those are your FBI officials who are in your regional office, who are ready to assist if you suspect an incident. And really, a call to any one of these is effectively a call to all. I just want to impart that we stay tied at the hip, very closely coordinated across all 3 of these, so that election officials and their vendor partners get the support that they need, because you really can't afford to lose time in an incident. So we're all here, we're all ready, we're here to support.
That's great. How does CISA work with election officials to ensure that the security of election offices networks are continually safeguarded to address the latest cybersecurity threats?
So that's one of the benefits of where we sit at CISA. We're kind of at a focal point across a lot of communities. We get information from the intelligence community. We get information from law enforcement. Certainly, we heavily rely on the private sector cybersecurity community and the threat intelligence that we can get there, and the reporting from partners across the election community, like yourselves, like state and local election officials, like the private sector partners, to really give us a solid picture of what's going on across the election community. The other major resource that we get in order to understand trends and activities is our vulnerability management services, so our cybersecurity services that we offer at no cost in a voluntary relationship because of that critical infrastructure designation. It's a great place to start. They are constantly evolving with knowledge of new vulnerabilities that are added to the National Vulnerability Database, with awareness of current tactics and techniques from advanced persistent threat actors in order to best provide you effective mitigations and security practices and steps to take on your systems. And the last kind of relevant point there is how we safeguard election officers' networks against the latest cyber threats. That's exactly what we're funding the EISAC, again, the Election Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center, to do. It's part of its purpose is to alert the election community on the latest and greatest kind of technical vulnerabilities, or warn on cyber threat adversaries conducting activity either in this sector or another that may be relevant to this sector, and provide those kind of actionable steps so that you can defend your networks against those current, ongoing, or emerging campaigns.
Last but not least, given the current threat landscape and your role with risk mitigation, what guidance is most paramount for election officials to defend against cyber risk?
Part of me wants to say patch, because it's always the answer. But really here, I'd want to turn it to it's plan. Plan, and assume that your systems will be compromised. There's a ton of resources. We have planning templates. Our partners have planning templates. We have field staff in terms of CISA's cybersecurity advisors who are available in every region, in every state, to be able to assist state and local election officials. Really, you want to know how you are going to operate should you suspect an incident. So that's not the time that you want to be introducing yourself to your CIO, to your federal resources, to your election crimes coordinators. So really, we have a lot of resources to be able to assist you in the planning process so that you can be better positioned should an incident occur, to have timely mitigations and ensure that you'll be able to conduct elections. There's always, go back to the basics, like patching, like multi-factor authentication, EISAC alerts, moving to the .gov. There's a ton of things that you can do, but first and foremost, work on getting an incident response plan in order.
That's great. Is there anything else you want to add before we close out?
There's tons of resources available. Certainly check out your website as the EAC clearinghouse, but also CISA.gov/election security. Plenty of resources. We link to each other's pages in order to make sure that you all across the election community have as many services and opportunities to take advantage of all the good guidance, all the good services and assessments that we can provide in order to help you manage risks to your systems. Other than that, I do want to thank you for your time and this opportunity, Commissioner. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so very much appreciated.
Jeff, I want to thank you and DHS and CISA for all the work that you've done to safeguard our elections and to make sure that critical infrastructure is taken very seriously. And thank you for being a part of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.